the final home game of the season for the ASC football team. Delton Prescott kind enough to join us on KSPK's coverage of ASC athletics. Final game of your collegiate career. How much does it hurt to hear that?
For like the past 2 weeks, it's been hitting me. Like, I can't believe it's really coming to an end. It sucks how we going out, but hopefully we can just go out with a win at least.
What's been the toughest part then with the last 2 weeks and the losses and what it's built to?
It's just, for the most part, it's just knowing that we could have beat other teams. You know, I feel like we should have won every game except one. Like, Kearney was a good team, but every other team, like, we're in a game, we either gave them up with turnovers or just other errors. But we clearly should be winning a lot of these games. We should be going to the playoffs right now.
ASC's at 500 heading into this afternoon's match. They're 5-5 on the year, 3-5 in conference play. Fact remains, you've had two incredible weeks, 22 catches, 297 yards the last 2 weeks against Mines and Colorado Mesa. How do you separate some of the tough losses with the recognition that you individually have been on a roll lately?
I don't know why I always, like, it seemed like every time towards the end of the year I start getting all the touches. I don't know why it goes that way, but I just try to do whatever I can to help the team out, you know, and it's been tough since Boat been out. I have to take on this bigger role, you know, and it kind of sucks because, you know, Trevor's only used to throwing the ball to three people for the most part. And when Boat's not here, I get bracketed and, you know, it's hard for him to find me, you know, and stuff like that. And me and Scotty's on the same side, so when they bracket one person, they end up bracketing two because we're on the same side in open personnel. So hopefully it changes when Boat comes back this week. Hopefully it can open up and we should be able to be effective like we've been.
Well, Delton mentioned last year, his first year at ASC, had 24 catches for almost 250 yards the last 3 weeks of the year. It is something about getting the ball in your hands at the end of the year, but maybe the touches wouldn't have been as high if Dustin wouldn't have gone down, and that probably would have been for the betterment of the offense. With reflection as an asset, looking at the last 2 weeks without Dustin, what's something that you've realized now you're really missing that maybe at the time when you found out he wasn't going to play, it didn't really stand out to you?
Well, we just needed another threat. We just needed another threat, period. You know, when they found out that Dustin wasn't playing, they knew I was the other guy, you know, and they're going to try to take me out the game. And we can run the ball for the most part, but we're passing offense, me to throw the ball. So we just needed another guy. Plain and simple, he was the other guy.
It's Delton Prescott with the ASC football program. 66 catches on the year, second most in ASC history. Wild week for you. Your quarterback, who had started 27 consecutive collegiate football games, is now going to be sitting on the sidelines for the first offensive series. Do you have any idea what to expect when Mark Amos is looking for you the first time?
I don't know, man. We've been cheering him on all week, and he's been looking pretty good. You know, and Trevor's been doing very good at helping him. You know, he's taking it on strong. You know, he's been starting forever, and he's sitting out, but he's still being a leader, still helping Mark out with everything, still doing things that he's been doing, so that's a good look. So we're just cheering Mark on. Hopefully he come out and just have a game. I kind of feel like he's a gamer. Some people are gamers, so I feel like he might have a big one.
I've never seen you as hyped as you were when he hit Muhammad Hassoun for the 48-yard touchdown pass at Fort Lewis. You went and tackled him in the end zone. You were pretty pumped to see him.
I was juiced for Muhammad, man, because in practice he's a wild kid, and he had to get one, and he caught it with his hands. That was new. He never catch the ball with his hands, so when he caught it and took off, I was like, wow, that was fun, man. It was tight.
You know, yeah, you won 46-0 in that game. The offense had scored 136 points in 14 quarters. If you continue the first half against Mines, when you scored 16, really everything was clicking. From your ability and vantage point on the field, was it all Bolt? What changed in the second half against Mines and then in the game against Mesa?
I don't know, man. I've been trying to think about that for a while to myself. I don't know what it was. I try to get a reasonable doubt for the weather, but really can't use weather. It's just tough, man. Like, I guess he was just looking for me for the most part, and they bracket me. And me and Scotty's on the same side. So if we did have another threat on the other side, I feel like they would have came out. Because usually when we watch film, we'll see one thing, and then you'll come out and see something totally different just because we have two threats. So, and when they came out and showed us something totally different when we seen on film. So we maybe got out-coached for the most part. That could have been it.
Well, you just look at the performance in Grand Junction, too. I think about guys like you and Brandon Wright, guys from LA and Miami, and it's 35 with rain turning to snow, and the crowd's cheering because they love it, because this is Grand Junction, and this is something that they kind of dig. When you're on the field as a West Coast dude and you're trying to endure that type of weather, what's going through your head?
It was terrible. I had to keep my hands because they were done, frozen, so I had to keep my hands. I had my hands in the hand warmer until the snap of the ball. Like, I never witnessed anything like that. When it started hailing, I thought it was snow, and then it started hurting. So I'm like, this is not snow, this is hell. Like, I never witnessed nothing like that with that. So I just feel like I had to just try to keep running around and stay warm as I could. It was terrible.
It's Delton Prescott with the ASC football program. You mentioned Trevor this week and how much of a leader he's been. He's got one more year. I mean, right now he's the only scholarship quarterback you have. That'll change. But, your year is going to be done. He'll have one more year. What kind of advice are you going to give to him at the conclusion of the year, knowing what he's still capable of in the 2012 season?
I feel like it's his first year with Holland. Holland threw a lot at him for the first year, so I feel like just keep going where he was going. You're learning a lot of stuff that no one would learn in the RMAC. Like, you have an NFL coach. No one has an NFL quarterback as their coach, so just keep listening to him, watch as much film as you can, and just listen, and then you will get better. That's all I can say.
Delton, of course, is referring to Justin Holland, quarterback coach, Colorado State all-time record holder in several categories, and was with the Dolphins when Dante Culpepper and Joe Harrington were in camp. Just having one coach who comes in and works with you about specific reads, tendencies, routes, something that you haven't experienced in your collegiate career, how hard is that learning curve? Because obviously Coach Holland's a brilliant guy, but it just seems like it takes some players a lot longer, while some, like you, can click right away and figure out what his system's all about.
I mean, it's hard, but you got to be coachable because, a guy like me, I never really learned too much from anyone. I always been going to camps, like different camps and stuff like that, and I just go off of what I know. And he actually helped me a little bit, and it's hard to take, kind of criticism and coaching type stuff, but it helps. Like, he helps me get open. He helps me with reads. So I think it's just a lot thrown at Trevor for the first year. He just keep going with it and be coachable. He'll be fine.
Well, and for you personally, you still have a lot to look forward to. I mean, you're going to give it a go. You're going to see what level of professional football will be available for you. What's your intuition right now? CFL, I know you don't want to do the AFL, NFL Europe. Just if you have a gut feel for where you could be in camp next year, where is it?
I honestly feel like I can go play in the NFL. Maybe not right away. I'm not tripping about playing in practice squad for 2 or 3 years or whatever. But I have some guys that played in my junior college that are in the NFL, and they tell me right away I can come out there and give it a try. So I just know I need to work on my speed. The rest, I have already. So I'm going to try to finish college and then shoot for NFL. If that doesn't work, CFL, AFL is out of the question.
Of course, Chase Vaughn, former ASC guy, he's in the AFL right now, but that's just something you're not down for. When you look at where your career's gone and everything that's taken place in the last year, last week you were honoring your grandma. It was the 1 year passing of her death, and you've done so much as an athlete. When you try to reflect on everything that's happened since you moved to Colorado, how do you sum it up?
I just feel like I've been through a lot, and as a child, my father and my grandmother always had this goal for me to play sports because, like, I'm a smart kid, but that's all I really had going, from the other stuff that I used to do in life. So I just feel like I need to stick with it. I'm pretty good at it. My coaches tell me that I'm good at it, so I just feel like I need to stick with it and transition into this Colorado lifestyle with different type of people I've never been around. I'm just trying to live, whatever comes with it.
Yeah, you say you feel like you've changed a lot. What do you feel like is the most positive change in your life?
Everything, my attitude, the things I used to get into for fun, I used to do some crazy stuff. So I just feel like I just basically changed to a man. Like, I got a child that I take care of a lot, like everyone knows about. So I just feel like I'm just growing into a man.
Delton's got 66 catches. Only needs 21 catches today to get the all-time record for ASC. Doable, right?
Yeah, I talked to Mark about that too. I was like, so Mark, I'm chasing this record, He was like, oh yeah? How far are you away? I'm like, 21, 21 catches. He was like, 1 game? Yeah, man, we can do it. He was like, oh, we're going to shoot for it then. So hopefully, how would that be, though? 21 catches in 1 game, I love it.
We would all love it. Delton, it's always been fun. Pleasure. Thanks.
Thank you.